So the people are who are around us are, they are hurting through the news, hearing through the news or some worldwide also. They are doing some very negative work, negatively they are behaving or some cheating like that. So how can this situation, how can continuously trust on those people and respect to that, having the respect to that people also.
Coming to your question, see, if you look around, you find so many things happening, right? So many things happening which are undesirable, which are quite against, you know, the fulfillment in relationship, right? And that is what you are trying to say, you know, that so much of, you know, chaos is around, you know, people are trying to hurt each other, deny each other, you know, there are terrorists and there are Naxalites and there are, you know, people who are exploiting each other, you know, all this is happening. Now, with this background, how can you trust? That is the question, right?
Trust and respect to them.
Yeah, how can you trust and respect and have the feeling of affection for them, right? Yes. So, if you look around, this is what is happening, right? But the very basic question that we have been asking right from the beginning, that if you look at all this is happening, is it to do with their competence or it has to do with their intention? Is it to do with what they are or is it to do with what is naturally acceptable to them?
So it's basically.
So, that is the core issue, that is the core question that we must ask ourselves, and we must ask this for them also, that they are doing all this, but is it naturally acceptable to them? The answer will be, it is not naturally acceptable to you, it is not naturally acceptable to them, but because of lack of right understanding, right, we have come to assume certain things which are wrong, and therefore, we are stuck with it, right. Therefore, we are stuck with it. Okay. We have been doing lot of experiments, you know. We did an extensive experiment with the jail inmates in Bilaspur Central Jail, you know, I was mentioning before. There are 25, you know, prisoners who had committed 3 to 5 murders. We worked with them for 2 years, right, and the results were quite, you know, kind of surprising, because over 6 months there was significant improvement in their thinking, in their behavior, right. So much so that out of this, you know, 25 people, 3 of them developed themselves to conduct this, you know, workshops for the other prisoners. They conducted workshop for 650 prisoners. We conducted workshop over these 2 years for 150 prisoners. Okay. One of them, you know, in one of the evaluation session after 6 months was saying that now I feel confident, okay, that my behavior with all the 900 inmates of the jail is fulfilling for me and fulfilling for them, right. And in response to that, you know, the then collector there, who was also sitting for the evaluation, the collector, the commissioner, they were all sitting there. So, this collector said that I cannot say with so much of confidence that my behavior with my colleagues is fulfilling, you know, with all the colleagues. So, you can see, you know, that not that they really want to do this, that is what is naturally acceptable to them, but out of their preconditioning, out of their, you know, circumstances and all, they do it and they do not want to do it really, they do not want to continue it with it, right. I remember another incident, you know, in Jhabua, this is one of the districts in Madhya Pradesh, okay. There is a person called Diwan Daku, you know, and he is so famous, and government has put a price of some 50,000 or 1 lakh rupee on him, you know. Presumably, the government is not able to get any, you know, get hold of him. So, this prize is given that whoever gives information about him, he will be paid this much amount. But the reality there, the fact there is that everybody knows him, right, including the collector and the police superintendent and everybody, and many of these these leaders, okay, before they stand for election they will go and take his blessings, because that is the kind of hold that he has over the society there, okay. And this person, he has two sons, that time they were very young, he has admitted them in a boarding school there in Jhabua, right. So, at one time we are just asking him, that why do you, kind of you have admitted them in this boarding, this thing, because through them government can catch you anytime, right. He said, I do not want my shade to fall on them, my shadow to fall on them, okay. So, I want to keep them away from me, even at this risk of my getting caught by the government, by the police. So, he is doing this, he is a Daku, okay, and does so much many things, but he does not want to do it. I mean, it is not something which is naturally acceptable to him, So, at least he wants to keep his children away from it. Yeah. So, that we have to find out whether these people who are doing all these wrong things, is it naturally acceptable to them, or is it out of the preconditioning, out of the circumstances and all that. That is one thing. Second thing is that we can ask the same question to ourselves and we can get the answer, right. Third is that now that we know that it is something which is not naturally acceptable, but they are forced by either the preconditionings prevailing in the society or by the circumstances prevailing in the society, then what do we do? Then first we understand what is naturally acceptable to us, what is right for us, then we try to do that, then we try to create a family, a society, situation where we have right kind of education and sanskar through which every child is trained, educated, okay, is helped to understand what is right, and do what is right. Till then, yes, there will be these problems, these contradictions will be there, but we cannot continue with the contradictions. That is not the solution. We have to work for the solution, right. We have to work for a way where we understand what is right through our own nature acceptance, right. We do what is right, okay. We do it ourselves, we do it in the family, we do it in the group of family, and so on, and then slowly create a condition in the society where we provide education and sanskar to every child who is going through education, right. Then things will start, kind of falling in place. Yes. Like we did this work on in jail. Here are the people, 30 years, 40 years they have spent in the society and they have faced all these problems in the society, but then they come to the jail with all this crime and everything, but even there they are willing to improve upon themselves, right. In 6 months, there was hardly any fight in the jail, and when there is no fight, there is hardly any work in the jail, okay. So, people had lot of time, the prisoners and the wardens, okay, because the major issue is there, in terms of fighting and trying to punish or resolve this fight. So, when the fight went down, there was enough time for everyone. So, they said we will do something more constructive, So, this class, open school class was started, and in remaining 1.5 year, more than 150 people, they passed either class 5th or class 8th. Still they had time. So, they said we will do some production. So, 24 different types of productions were started, right. So, all this came up, and at one point of time they said that we should have open jail, where we will be there confined in a wider place and we will work, produce and do all these things, live like a family, as a community, and it was accepted in principle, but then finally it did not work out, okay, because the government at some point of time did not entertain it further. But yes, slowly we can work. Yes. So, things are there not very positive around, but good thing is that that is not our natural acceptance, that is not what is natural to human being, right. So, what is natural to human being can be understood, can be practiced, can be shared and then multiplied, that is the solution.